Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alexander Jarman, and I'm the manager for public programming here at the San Diego Museum of Art. I want to welcome you. I want to thank you so much for coming out this afternoon. Just a few very brief announcements. We want you to go ahead and if you have to, ignore me for the next 2 minutes, if that means that you are finding your cell phone in the bottom of your purse or your back pocket or whatever, and turning that off, silent, something comparable to that. We're going to be here for at least an hour and a half today. The actual demo is going to be around an hour, but there's going to be some Q&A afterwards. And it's going to be interactive. We're going to pass around some things as well. I'm always reminded of one of John Baldessari's most famous quotes, which is, "The best way to know about an artist is to hear from the artist." So it's always exciting to have a living artist with us at the museum, and not just here to give a lecture, but here to actually show you how the art is made. We do have some wonderful examples and didactics in the exhibition, but surely nothing is as good as seeing it live. I'm going to just briefly introduce our wonderful Deputy Director for Curatorial, Dr. Julia Marjari Alexander. And she's going to introduce the rest of the program. If you have any questions, remember there is a Q&A session at the end, so hold those until the end, and we'll try and get to all of you. But for right now, please put your hands together and welcome Julia.
Thank you. It's really not I who you are welcoming right now, but actually Sonia Quintanilla in my person. So Sonia could not be here today, but she has very kindly provided me with quite a long, if not an hour, but quite a long introduction to help put what you will be seeing in context. So please bear with me, and I will get through it as quickly as possible, but I think actually you'll find it very, very helpful. So thank you. So the San Diego Museum of Art is very proud to present Dying Elegance, Asian Modernism, and the art of Kuboku and Hisako Takaku, especially this demonstration today. It is truly a once-in-a-life opportunity. These dyed silk works showcase two artists, one of whom we have here today, who forged a form of expression at once rooted in craft traditions and inherently Japanese, yet one that is thoroughly modern and cosmopolitan, one that reflects the volatile waves of change that passed through Japan in the 20th century. Dying Elegance affords us a view of how form and function, tradition and innovation, and the local and international all came together to shape the development of these exquisite and wearable works of art. When this work is seen together in the exhibition, it represents a stunning and singular vision of Asian modernists. Today's demonstration will provide us with a wealth of insight into the dedicated and painstaking craftsmanship behind the creation of every single obi, and give us insight into also the making of the kimono, but mainly today we're focusing on the obi. I would like especially to thank, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and Roxana Velasquez, the Executive Director, and as I said earlier, Sonia Quintanilla, I would like to thank the Asian Arts Council, whose general meeting this is for this month, and it is their generosity that has made actually this exhibition and particularly the publication possible. I'd like to thank the staff of the Department of Education and Programs, Maurice Kawashima, who's lurking in the way back, for putting us in touch with Hisako Takaku at the beginning to make us think about this opportunity that we have in showing her work here. I'd like to thank Miyako Aoki, who's back here, who has been instrumental in helping Chako bring her work to the center, and not to the center, but to the museum. So all of these people have made this event happen today, but Patrick Coleman, who is standing in the back, he really is the one who has been working with Sonia day in and day out to help make it all come together. So I think we owe him a special thanks, the unsung hero. So now I'll just go through quickly what we're going to see, first putting it in a larger context, and then telling you exactly what you will be seeing. So putting this work of Hisako Takaku's Obi in a larger context, we must go back to the early years of the 20th century. Especially in the 1920s, artists in Japan sought to preserve the handcraftsmanship and Asian philosophical and spiritual traditions as against the encroachment of the industrialization and westernization that was happening once Japan opened up in the 1850s. Hisako Takaku's father, Kūboku, was educated precisely in this milieu. His mentor, Matsugoro, I'm sorry, my Japanese is not very good, Hirokawa, was something of a William Morris, I can say that one, of the English arts and crafts movement, to various Pan-Asian movements gathering traction in Japan at that time. Through Matsugoro, Kūboku learned a more traditional form of rōketsuzome, which is performed using a tool called a chanchin, and you can see a picture of this in the exhibition. This is sort of like a fountain pen filled with hot wax. The style of Kūboku's earliest work featured the characteristic definite lines, tribal themes, and dense patterning of the style called rōketsuzome. While Kūboku would remain committed to many traditional elements of his craft as he inherited it from his mentor, he also found himself increasingly drawn to experiments of the European modernists of his day, Picasso, Matisse, Gris, Braque, and these works began to appear in Japan via newly available mass-produced art journals, one of which belonged to him, is actually also in the exhibition. During World War II, he experimented with more cubist styles and abandoned using the chanchin in favor of a Japanese brush. This gave his productions a softer-edged, more naturalistic, and inherently Japanese feel. The first gallery of Dying Elegance tells this story of Kūboku's developing style during this period, one in which you can see the artist's struggle to find a path through the contrary impulses of tradition and modernity. So while he's creating these works in a kind of Western style exhibition, he also began to produce kimono and obi. And these were sold at high-end kimono shops in Tokyo and also via catalog by a wholesaler. The functionality of these formats suited his ideas of art making. They were meant to be used, not only appreciated from afar. On the kimono and obi, he gravitated towards natural features, flowers, mountains, and rivers, with compositions rooted in a personal philosophy of balance and flow, which drew from Taoist antecedents. His use of the Japanese brush enabled him to dye designs into the silk in sumie styles, which is no easy feat, as you'll see. These images resonated with the educated Japanese women who were looking to rally around national art forms, and these designs proved to be exceptionally popular. In 1962, he retired from life as a public artist and devoted all of his energy to designing kimono and obi. Hisako Takaku grew up observing her father's unique praxis and devotion to his work. Despite his warnings and constant warnings of a difficult road, Hisako followed him into her career in art. She first studied oil painting and then designed printed cotton fabrics, which were manufactured for sale in Japanese department stores. Her father encouraged the latter path as a place to practice designing the obi. During this time, she assisted Kūboku in his studio and began to producing her own works using the rōketsuzome. In 1977, she devoted herself to creating kimono and obi full-time and worked side by side with her father as an artist of equal talent, skill, and vision. Only 1 year later, she and Kūboku would have their first of many joint exhibitions celebrating their work. During this period, she remarked that she achieved a deeper understanding of her father's aesthetic philosophy, one that emphasized the balance of opposing elements while maintaining a graceful flow between them all. She also integrated what she had learned from oil painting and her own pantheon of modern European influences, which favored French modernists such as Bernard Catherine and André Brasilier. In order to arrive at her own signature style, she fused all of these influences together. An elegant and complex portrait of Hisako's personal style is available to us in her suite of kimono and obi of the Four Seasons, which have been shown in this exhibition for the first time outside of Japan, and they are in the second gallery. In these wearable works of art, warring influence have found an organic and unified expression. Their format is indigenous and functional. It's not rarefied art to be admired from a distance. The designs integrate geometric forms and color experiments of European modernism, but merge these with a sensibility steeped in Japanese sumie ink brush painting, and the Rinpa school artists develop deep sensibility to nature. By being both works of art and functional products influenced by modernity, yet rooted in tradition, Kūboku and Hisako's kimono and obi are where their unique solution to the questions facing modern Japanese artists find their most successful and unified expression. If you've been in the exhibition, and I think most of you have, you know how delicate and spontaneous these designs appear. If they are the result of a well-practiced hands moving quickly with a heavy dyed brush, you can hardly tell. The precise and labor-intensive nature of the process behind each of these objects may come to you as something of a surprise. We are about to see how we can illuminate this kind of effort and attention that goes into making a single obi, and this process is days and weeks of work telescoped into an hour. So to help put all of that into context, I'll describe briefly the steps in the process. And you'll see, even talking about their brand of Roketsozome is not very quick. So, I order a commission. I commission an obi from Chako, and I select a design from a pattern book. She then uses the pattern and any pre-existing test designs that she has made, sketching the design using sumi ink onto a paper which covers over a light box. The light box is key because then she can next position the roughly 19-foot-long obi silk over it to project the sumi ink sketch up onto the final location of the design. When the finished obi is worn, this design will appear on the knot at the wearer's back, so placement is incredibly precise. She then uses a blue ink made from starch and iodine called ibana to trace the design onto the silk. The obi is hung at full length across her studio, much as it's here, which is an impressive sight in and of itself. It's then ready at this point to receive its first application of wax, rō, which is melted in a cup atop a small lantern. She places the wax around the outline of the design where she does not want the dye to penetrate the material, so it's a kind of reverse process. Only then can it receive the first color. Each variation in tone has to be applied separately, and layering the dye increases its opacity. And one of the hallmarks of a Takaku design is the beautiful and translucent quality of the colors. To create the effects of brush slowly running out of ink as it travels across the fabric actually requires several applications of minutely varying tones of dye. While a Takaku obi can have the appearance of a sumie sketch that would take only minutes for her to create, she needs to work for as many as 10 days on a single obi. So this also doesn't include all the ironing and the cleaning processes that are needed to set the dye and remove all the traces of ibana and wax. So all of this process has in itself a level of patience and control that testify to Hisako's immense artistic dedication to perfection. So with all of this, all of these words in mind, it is with great pleasure and anticipation that we now turn to the demonstration itself. As Alexander said, there will be a short period of question and answer at the end of the demonstration, and we will be passing around or showing you a completed obi out in the audience afterwards. But I'm sure we will all want to stand to appreciate something new about these amazing works of art and what goes into the production of each. Please join me in welcoming wholeheartedly Hisako Takaku and her interpreter, Reiko Yamadashima. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming for my demonstration.
Well, she is the most famous and valued women wax dye artist in Japan. And today she would like to introduce Roketsozome, which is wax resist dyeing. It has been descended as traditional industrial arts for hundreds of years. Today she'd like to show you the industrial art technology plus the technique and idea which her father Kūboku created. From her father to her generation, they tried very hard to bring up their technique to be artistic, not only everyday clothing of kimono or obi. And different from traditional Japanese paintings or Western art paintings, oil paintings, dyeing allows only one chance at perfection. In this intensive process, the artists must have completed the image in mind, precisely calculated each step in the production process, and fully grasp the ethically appealing points of the piece before launching into actual production. Without a clear vision of the beauty of the final product, the result will be a failure. And Kūboku and charcoal works are characterized by strong brushwork, distinctive stylishness, witty expression, and modern rhythm. And their enduring efforts to overcome hardship and their intense desire to succeed helped them to achieve their elegant color combinations. So now she would like to start showing how to be that.
まず最初に好きな絵を紙に描いてください。
First, using Japanese brush, she sketches the design on paper, like flowers, fish, birds, whatever you like.
Okay.
Yes.
真っ白いシルクの布に好きな描いた図の絵を写します。
Lay silk over the sketch, usually over a light box underneath it. But today we don't have it, so she just do as it is. And using aibana, which is a blue ink made with iodine, kuzu vine powder. It's a Japanese tree, made from Japanese tree powder, and water. Traces the outline of the design.
しますね。でこのラインは蒸すと蒸気を当てると消えます。
はい。This dye will disappear when it is steaming.
花の浸透も写しておきます。
Usually, she drew the core of the flowers.
これくらいで出来上がる。
Well, I would like to say, usually it takes long period of time, but today she only has certain amount of time, so it might be difficult for you to understand. So, but please understand that.
そしてこの藍花を写し終えたのが
So she finished outdrawing this flower. This is the one she finished drawing sketches.
わかりますか？はい。そしてまず、バラの花の浸透から作っていきます。
Now she's going to draw the core of the rose. Sorry. So
そしてヘアドライヤーで
And then she's going to dry by hair dryer. After it is dried,
濃いところ、一番バラの芯のところにポイントで濃い赤を刺します。
she colors right in the middle of core. She put the darker red. She colors it.
わかりますか？
Do you see? Everybody
は
see?
い。で、これの乾いたのが
So next one is the one she finished, dried one with core, pink and red.
そしたら白い花を白で取るところをローでまず描いていきます。これは
Now she melts the wax in a small cup on top of the lantern usually, and draw white flower with wax.
このローは植物から取った木蝋
This wax is made from plant. It's called mokuro, and which is soft and spread easily.
この時にローの重なりで筆性が出ます。筆性ってロー、なんていうか、筆の、なんていうか書き順が出るというか。
書き順っていうの。
なんていうか、書いた跡が出る。
はい。When she draw with this wax, it shows the trace of the her brushing the trace.
そうするとローの重なりでバラの花びらの立体感が出ます。
So when some of the wax is kind of doubled, some places one brush and some other places have double brushing. In that way, it gives you the how to say 3-dimension type thing. Not just flat, but it's three-dimensional.
これで finish
And finished.
for white,
Yes.
white flower. The next ちょっとイエローグランドもうちょっとこれがもうちょっとはい。ブラシでグランドのイエローを引きます。
Then she applies ground color of yellow using hake brush. That's a big brush.
わかりますか？
Can you see it?
そしたらロウの白い花の上にかぶった、黄色のぼちぼちを拭き取ります。
You wipe off the yellow color on top of white flower.
それでそこのブラシ、ハケの毛とかいろんなものがついてたら取ります、きれいに。
So you brush off all the small dust and everything.
白いお花ができました。
So white flower is finished.
で、この地色が乾いたのがここにあります。
So when this ground color is dried, this is the one. And it has to be let it dry naturally. Otherwise, the color gets uneven.
ちょっとこれパラフィンの溶いたのをください。ああ、これが溶いてないからダメだ。次が、この葉っぱに色を入れていきます。
Next step is to draw leaves and stems.
そしたらどうしましょう。ちょっとこちら先に進めましょうか。この葉っぱと茎のところに色を入れるためにパラフィンのろうで、染料がにじまないようにするためにここをろうで留めていきます。
はい。When the ground color is dried, using liquid paraffin brushes the wax around the outside of the outlines drawn in Ibana, like outside of leaves and stems.
Okay?
So the color won't blare.
もうすぐ ローで留めますと染料がにじみませんから茎と葉っぱができます。
So if when you draw by wax, paraffin wax outside of leaves and stems, when she she colors the stem and leaves. It won't flare.
そして、ヘアドライヤー。乾かしては塗り、乾かしては塗りを繰り返します。
She colors and let it dry and draw again and many times over and over.
ちょっと宮子さん、これこう持って乾かしててください。乾かしてる間にこっちのさっきのちょっと。
So the paraffin wax is now melted.
ろうは固まる性質のものですからラインの縁を手早く伏せていきます。
So this paraffin wax dries very quickly and doesn't spread easily. So she has to do the job very quickly.
いいですか？こういうふうになりますね。
So this is how it is.
OK、乾いた？大体？はい。一部薄いところを残してまた重ねます。
And then she's gonna leave the really pale part. Other places she's gonna dye again.
これちょっとほら細くしない
To
と
give
煙
the
が出て。
dimensional look, three-dimensional look.
でまた乾かします。
And then dry it again.
こう、薄く残してあります。
She left the stem part really lightly.
薄く残すことによって立体感が出てきます。
To give the three-dimensional look.
こ
The reason she uses this paraffin wax for stop to go the color out. This wax is easy to wash up, and it doesn't have the color. But this white wax, it shows kind of yellowish color after it taken away.
OK、大体やりましょうか。大体でいいから。はい。そして、
あ、大丈夫。
なんていうの、透かして、
はい。
こうやってろうがついてるので、透かしてこう自分が濃くしたいところをまた塗っていきます。
The paraffin wax is on, so you kind of go through and see how, if you want to, other places it's gonna be darker, so you color more.
乾かしては塗り乾かしては塗りするのを、7回から8回、図によっては10回以上繰り返します。
7 to 8 times, depend on the work she does. She dry it and draw again and dry and draw again. Sometimes even to 10 times.
だんだんこのお花がバラのお花が生き生きしてきます。
Then you can see the roses. It's very brightly.
でこの、彩色が完成したのがこちらです。
So the last one is the finished one.
で、これちょっとかぶせる。白いお花に、グレーの色をかぶせます。
So you should put a gray color on top of white flower.
これによって、バラの花びらの表現ができます。
So the petal of the flower will be kind of very alive looking.
そうするとろうの薄いところにグレーが染みていきます。
So the wax, when the wax is very light places, this gray color will go in.
そしてこれが終わったのがこちらです。
And that's the finished one.
Yes. 出来上がりの図を見ていただくと。
Would you like to see the finished material? Are you looking? The passing away? Not yet. Not yet. Oh, okay. 最後に。
はい。今最後のと同じのがこれですね。
So this is the same one as at the end, the finished one.
アイロンついてますか？はい。アイロンで60% くらいのろうを取っておきます。
And then she takes away maybe 60% of the wax by ironing. And the cloth is placed between tissue and newspaper and iron it.
直接だとニュースペーパーの字が白いお花についてしまいます。
So she has to put tissues first, otherwise the newspaper ink will come beyond.
なんかぬるいですね。いや火入ってるんですけど。全然ぬるい。
強くなってんですよね。
一番強い灰になってる。
馬力がない。アイロンで焦がさないようにしてろうを取っていきます。
Not to burn the wax by ironing.
こういう状態になります。
So this is how it's gonna be.
こうなります。これを、蒸してそれからこのろうをすっかり取って水洗いして完成です。
And then steam it to set the dye for about 1 hour. And then further cleaned with warmed trichloroethylene, that's solvent, that removes every wax. And then washed again in water and let it dry. And at the end, iron again. That's the finish.
そうそう、出来上がりのものがありますから、皆さん見て
So
手に取って
please see the finished one, and she's going to pass around. Yes.
I think Alexander, are we doing Brittany has the microphone.
Do we have any questions? Oh, right in the front.
So all the fabric that you use, you actually dye. It starts out as a white silk, and she brushes the color on all the fabrics for the kimonos and the obis. Is that correct?
そう、
実際に
みんな。
着物と帯の染めるのは全部なさるんですよね。
そうです。
Yes, that's correct.
Do we have one more? Did you have somebody up there?
The little hemispheres that are under the fabric, is there tension in that to hold the fabric out straight, and how are they attached? Those little half circles that are below the fabric.
Oh, this, you mean how
Yeah.
this is
Underneath. This. No, beyond the half circles.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. Are they just?
This is これは何ですかっていうことです。はい。
紳士。
It's called 紳士。
Okay, so they
That's,
actually hold it
really-
stretched.
Bamboo narrow stick, and it has a little needle
Okay.
both sides.
So that it
she
holds
can
it.
put this.
Yeah.
So this will this won't shrink. When she draw, it tends to shrink this material. So to prevent that, she used that. Yes.
We have one more question in the back.
作る生地の幅によってロングサイズ、サイズがあり
Depends
ます。
on the materials she uses. This should be, sometimes it's long and sometimes short. Pardon me?
Can she repeat what she just said? We were looking at that.
Which one? Pardon me? What?
Does she work on the same kind of setup in her studio, stretched out like this?
お家でもやはりこういう風な感じでなさるんですか？同じ。
全く同じ。
Exactly the same.
だから着物の時は、3つに分けて、長い着物を3つに縫って、だから
じゃあ長くなる。
長いです。
幅が。
いやいやいやいや、
じゃなくて
3つにあれを着物の形を全部ほどして、それで3つに分けて染めます。
For like kimono, it's gonna be take long, about maybe long has to be. What? I can't hear. Sorry. Yes.
Do you have any kind of an indentation along the fabric? Yes, you do. Okay, but it goes away once you take the bamboo away.
レロこのなんか少しこのなんていうの
That goes away when you take
これがなくなります？このちょっと跡が残りますよね。
幾分少し残る。
Maybe a little bit,
だけど
but it doesn't
帯だ
matter.
帯だから縫い代に入っちゃいます。
It's gonna be sewn anyway at the end part. So. Right, either obi or a kimono.
Yes, my question is this. When you make the obi is 18 feet long. When you display it, you fold half of it. And when you wear it, most part is hidden. So I'd like to know, why do you need to dye the whole thing?
What?
What
What is this?
Second question.
What's saying that?
I'm here.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
I'd like to know, why do you need to dye the whole thing, since you hide the most part of the fabric is hidden? When you display or when you wear it, you fold it many times, only a small portion will be shown.
Right.
So why do you need to take care of the whole length of fabric?
帯の時にね、本当に見えるのは本当少しの場所ですよね。だからなんでこんなに全部やるんですか？全部はやらないんですよね。
いやいや、これはパターンごとに
これは
クッキングの講習と同じようにこれが乾くまで待ってたら大変な時間かかるので、乾いたらこう。
This one is only for demonstration. So when she do the obi thing, she calculate where it shows like this part.
So
and
she
this
does
part.
calculate.
So
See,
only that part she.
Okay, so that seems to be very practical. My second question is, can you use the same technique on cotton?
コットンにも同じテクニックをお使いになるんですか？
コットンも同じです。
Yes, she uses the same technique. Yes.
はい、OK。
I have a question for Hisako. How long it's going to take whole entire to dye obi?
帯をね、完成させるのにどのくらい時間かかります？
デザインができてれば1週間。
When the design is ready,
Yeah.
1 week takes 1 week.
Okay, that's
Yes.
very short. Okay. I thought that it's gonna take so many days, no more than 1 week. I
But for
thought
着物はもっとかかるんですね。For kimono, it takes 3 months.
3 months.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
We have one back here actually first.
Thank you so much. On the white flower, you were rubbing a material to make the grade overlapping areas of the petals. What was that material that you were rubbing? It was almost like sanding the wax.
白い花の上にグレーで塗ってるのはどんなものを使って塗ってるんですか？それは
通常は綿を使います。
コットンball usually.
Cotton ball.
コットン
Cotton
に
ball.
染料を染み込ませて
You stick in dip in dye and just yes.
Yes, thank you very much. How did you do with the dot of red? And without the wax, it didn't bleed.
最初のね、
ええ
白い芯のところはワックスを使わなかったんですけども、それはなんで使わないんでしょうか？
この白い花の中に入ってるバラの芯っていうのは柔らかくてそんな目立たないものだから柔らかさを出すためにここを囲ってありません。
Because the core of the rose inside is very soft and it doesn't have to be really stopped by wax.
Okay.
Really exactly. It's kind of she wants to show the softness of the core flower. So.
And the second question is, how different is the paraffin from the wax? What kind of vegetable wax does she use?
このね、ワックスは何の木をどんな木を使ってるんでしょうか？木蝋は。
Not bee wax.
木蝋の木は何だったかな。なんて言ったかな。ちょっと今忘れました。
We don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, it's comes from tree, some kind of tree.
Okay. Thank you.
I understand that batting is put inside the obi and that it's folded over. So how wide is it when you start? Is that about half the width, or which way is it folded? This way or that way?
The width?
Yeah.
Of-
Is it true you put batting inside, a little
帯
padding?
の幅っていうのはこの幅ですよね。
そうです。
This is the size of width of obi, exact the size.
そして前はこれ半分に折れます。
So in front, you hold it in half. You just hold it half. Yeah, in half. And back, it's the width of this. Yes, this one.
Does your approach draw any from traditional ukiyo-e painting?
Does she
Does the approach, the technique, draw any from traditional ukiyo-e painting?
浮世絵からアイデアを得ることっていうのはあるんでしょうか？
ありません。
No, she doesn't get ideas from ukiyo-e.
Thank you, madam. I want to know, when you paint a kimono, the kimono is already done, or you first paint the fabric and then?
着物の場合は最初からもうできているのか、それとも反物であるのか、反物を染めてから着物にするのか、どちらですか？
白い生地を着物のようにしつけする、なんて言うんだろう、着物に作るしつけ、仮に作ります。それでそこに図を写していきます。
First, white this material, they make it like kimono, It is, well, not the real sewing, but and then she drew. Right. Yes. Right.
I have a question of dye. How many you dye so many times, or just dye is one time, or 2 times, 3 times?
Which dye?
Dye. She's using
Oh, you mean
dye.
the background color?
Dye. Where was the dye? Aoi dye. Rōketsuzome, iodine. Iodine. That's iodine. Iodine. Do you use iodine? Well, this is a separate question. Do you use iodine?
Yes, yes. When first she drew the sketches.
How come you using iodine?
相花には使ってますけれども、なんでそれを使うんですかっていうのは、それは消えるからですね。
完成した時にこのラインが消えた方がいいわけですよね。
So when after finishing, you don't want this to be shown, and by steaming, iodine will disappear.
Disappear.
That's why she uses it.
And also, I have a question about dye. Did you say dye? Dye. D-Y-E. D-Y-E. Do you use, does she use a dye?
You mean the colors?
Color.
Yes, she uses many colors, like yellow and gray.
So
pink.
those come from dye. D-Y-E.
D-Y-E. Yes.
How many times do you say dye? Like how many times you use, like dye is very complicated material. If you use, how many times? 何回ぐらい使うんですか？ Japanese。
何回台をその色
使いますか？
染料を使うんでしょうかって。ゆみにゃ。
それを作品によって。
Depends on the work she
違います。
is making.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Where does the silk come from? Is it a commercial fabric or do you have a special weaver?
この絹はどういうものを使ってらっしゃるんでしょうか。なんか特別なものですか、それとも普通に売ってる。
これは帯生地専用の生地です。
This is especially this silk is especially for obi, made for obi.
I wonder, before you start using electrical irons, how did you remove the wax, and how did you heat the wax to put it on the fabric?
Before you use iron?
Yeah. In years back, whenever she worked with her father, how did they apply the wax, and how did they remove the wax?
They have iron.
Yeah.
お父様とね、昔やってた時はアイロンがあったんでしょうか。アイロンがある前は何を
ありました。
They had iron. So
I understand before iron, however, before hair dryer, what did you use?
ヘアドライヤーがあったんでしょうか。前
うちでは温風機を使ってます。
でも昔の話。昔ヘアドライヤーがなかったんじゃないんでしょうか。
いやありました。
ありました。She said that they had hair dryer also. Somebody is. What? What did she say?
She said before the light box.
Oh.
I think it's just like tracing. You needed to have something that you would have a transparent candle underneath a. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't that old age, you know.
Domo arigato. I'm wondering if you ever had an apprentice, and if not, why not? An apprentice? Does she have an apprentice?
生徒さんはいらっしゃるんですか？
いません。
No, she doesn't take any student.
I think in the exhibition it says that that Chako is the last person who is doing this type of work on obi and kimono. So this is it's a moment in time, and her art and her father's art is one moment in time that will pass.
Yeah, I'm wondering why she isn't taking apprentice. Why is it going to be a dying art?
Oh, to not have student. どうして生徒さんをお取りにならないんでしょうか？
仕事の邪魔になるから。
So it bothers her work. She doesn't have time.
Do we have any other questions?
One more question, any others?
Nope.
One more.
Hey, we have the mic. Thank you.
For the dye that you use, what is it composed? What is it made of?
What? Yes.
The
colors, 染料は何からできてるんでしょうか？普通のいろんなこの黄色とか赤とか
鉱物から。
鉱物。It's not from plant. It's
synthetic.
Yes, synthetic.
So I think we all want to. Is this on? I'd love to thank Chako by giving her a beautiful bouquet of flowers, and thank all of you